Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, Counter-Spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Edward Pawley in an episode of Big Town, The Singing Rat. This was originally broadcast on April 5th, 1949, 73 years ago today. And we thank you for tuning in on this Sure Happy It's Tuesday, the 5th day of April, 95th day of 2022, 270 days remaining until we get to 2023. St. Patrick returned to Ireland as a missionary bishop on this date in 456. In 1614, Native American Pocahontas married English colonist John Rolfe. The Mayflower set sail from Plymouth on this date in 1621 on a return trip to Great Britain. President Washington vetoed a bill designed to apportion representatives among states in 1792, the first time the presidential veto had been used in the U.S. Firestone Rubber and Tire and Rubber Company started production of balloon tires in 1923. A fire in a hospital at Effingham, Illinois on this date in 1949 killed 77 people, resulting in nationwide fire code improvements. Ethel and Julius Rosenberg sentenced to death for performing espionage for the United States. There are some that even to this day believe that assassination, or rather that death sentence, was improper. Winston Churchill resigned as British Prime Minister on this date in 1955 amid indications of failing health. A 5-run episode of Spider-Man premiered on this date in 1978. Now, Nicholas Hammond portrayed Spidey, and the show was almost universally panned. That despite pretty good ratings, not even Stan Lee liked the program. In 1980, Cubans fled into a number of international embassies in Havana on this date in 1980. President Carter spoke to the Cubans.
Our heart goes out to the almost 10,000 freedom-loving Cubans who entered a temporarily opened gate at the Peruvian embassy just within this week.
Cubans took President Carter's message as a sign to flee to the U.S., and hundreds of thousands took any boats available to flee to Florida in the Mariel boat lift. It was estimated the number that reached the United States was in excess of 125,000. It was on this date in 2005, ABC News anchor Peter Jennings informed his viewers that he had lung cancer. This was an excerpt from his final broadcast on this date.
Finally, this evening, a brief note about change. Some of you have noticed in the last several days that I was not covering the Pope. While my colleagues at ABC did a superb job, I did think a few times I was missing out. However, as some of you now know, I have learned in the last couple of days that I have lung cancer. Yes, I was a smoker until about 20 years ago, and I was weak, and I smoked over 9/11. But whatever the reason, the news does slow you down a bit. I've been reminding my colleagues today, who have all been incredibly supportive, that almost 10 million Americans are already living with cancer, and I have a lot to learn from them. And living is the key word. The National Cancer Institute says that we are survivors from the moment of diagnosis. I will continue to the broadcast. On good days, my voice will not always be like this. Certainly, it's been a long time, and I hope it goes without saying that a journalist who doesn't value deeply the audience's loyalty should be in another line of work. To be perfectly honest, I'm a little surprised at the kindness today from so many people. That's not intended as false modesty, but even I was taken aback by how far and how fast news travels. Finally, I wonder if other men and women ask their doctors right away, "Okay, doc, when does the hair go?" At any rate, that's it for now in World News Tonight. Have a good evening. I'm Peter Jennings. Thanks and good night.
Jennings would last approximately another 4 months as he would pass away of cancer in August 5th of 2005. The first case of H5N1 avian flu confirmed in Britain on this date in 2006 after tests on a dead swan. And in 2006, Katie Couric announced she would leave the Today Show on NBC to move to the CBS Evening News.
I wanted to tell all of you out there who have watched the show for the past 15 years that after listening to my heart and my gut, two things that have served me pretty well in the past, I've decided I'll be leaving today at the end of May.
Couric would leave CBS 5 years later in 2011 to move on to ABC News and Yahoo News and even do a daytime talk show. In 2009, North Korea launched a controversial rocket. It passed over mainland China, which prompted an immediate reaction from the United Nations Security Council, as well as participating states of six-party talks. And in 2010, 29 coal miners killed in an explosion at the Upper Big Branch mine in West Virginia. Passing away on this date in history, General Douglas MacArthur.
Old soldiers never die. They just fade away.
Also passing away on this date in history, Brian Donlevy. You hear him frequently on classic radio theater in Dangerous Assignment. Also, aviator Howard Hughes, the recluse that he was. Supreme Court Justice Abe Fortas, who resigned in 1969 under the cloud of an ethics scandal. Danny and the Juniors lead, Danny Rapp. Also Nirvana's Kurt Cobain, poet Allen Ginsberg, race car driver Lee Petty, Saul Bellow, the writer, Seize the Day, Deborah Lee Scott, Gene Pitney, The Town Without Pity, actor Charlton Heston, and a man we lost way too young, John Panette. And that he was so funny. It was not a pleasant passing. Born on this date in history, Booker T. Washington, the African-American educator, actor Spencer Tracy, Lord Buckley. I hesitate to call him a comedian. They call him a monologuist, but I don't know that term applies anymore because there are so few of them. Also, actress Betty Davis, actor Gregory Peck, the writer of Roots, Arthur Haley, singer Gail Storm, also did some television acting. Tony Williams of the Platters, a wonderful impressionist, delightful man, Frank Gorshin, and jazz saxophonist Stanley Turrentine. This is birthday number 96 for film director Roger Corman. Wojo and Barney Miller, Max Gale, 79. The man behind DDP Yoga, Diamond Dallas Page, former pro wrestler, now into yoga, and saved a lot of people's lives, I'll be honest, with his DDP Yoga. Page, 66 years of age today. Judge Greg Mathis, still on the air at 62 years of age. Musician Paula Cole, we're still wondering where all the cowboys have gone. The man behind that horribly infectious song, Happy, Pharrell Williams, 49 years old today, and second-generation wrestler, the daughter of Ric Flair, Charlotte Flair, 36 years old. Those some of the people who celebrate the 5th day of April is their birthday, and if this happens to be your birthday...
Hi, we're the Four Freshmen, and we just want to say... Happy birthday to you.
And on this Tuesday, we go back 73 years to April 5th, 1949, Edward Pawley in Big Town. On this Tuesday, Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.
Are you suffering with arthritis or osteoporosis? Do you have diabetes? Did you know that these are just two of the hundreds of diseases that have seen improvement with Dr. Wallach's incredible longevity products? You can't get them at a health food store. The only way to get them is to call us at 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065. Do you have heart disease, fibromyalgia, or high blood pressure? Do you have a terrible time losing weight? Dr. Wallach can help. He was a veterinarian and cured diseases in animals. He felt that he could do the same for humans, so he became a physician. Over 50 years of research and helping people like you goes into every bottle of Dr. Wallach's amazing discoveries. Do you want to feel better? Learn how to treat the cause of your problem rather than covering up the symptoms with drugs. Call 800-214-0065. That's 800-214-0065.
Edward G. Robinson portrayed the lead role of Steve Wilson when Big Town premiered in October 19th of 1937, with originally Clara Trevor and then Ona Munson taking over the role eventually of Wilson's society editor sidekick. Well, when the role was taken over by Steve Wilson in 1943 until 1952, Fran Carlton played Polly's sidekick and star reporter Lorelei Kilbourne. And Big Town, during the period in which Polly was on, had serious good ratings through much of that period, and rated between 10 and 20 million listeners to the show. 4 films based on the radio series, all starring Philip Reed as Wilson and Hilary Brooke as Lorelei. Those movies between 1947 and 1948. And yes, it went to television at one point in time. But we're going to hear today an episode from this date back in 1949. Edward Pawley and Fran Carlton starring in Big Town, The Singing Rat, from 73 years ago today, April 5th, 1943, on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Extra Big Town, editor gets murder threat, gang goes strike on Big Town, extra Big Town, extra.
All right, pack your things, Lorelei. I'm sending you out of Big Town until I find out what's back of these racket threats.
Oh, now, wait a minute, Steve. You're the one who's been threatened, not me.
Now listen, Wilson. Lay off my rackets and I'll tip you on who's trying to get you. Is it a deal?
I'll make no deal with you, Lawler. And call off your gun goons, or they'll get you the chair.
Such are the highlights of the deadly gimmick of the Squeaking Rat on Big Town, brought to you by Lever Brothers Company, makers of Lifebuoy Health Soap. Another exciting adventure of fighting editor Steve Wilson of the Illustrated Press, whose newspaper creed stands for freedom and justice against the forces of intolerance and evil.
The power and the freedom of the press is a flaming sword, that it may be a faithful servant of all the people. Use it justly, hold it high, guard it well.
Now to Big Town and tonight's headline story of the deadly gimmick of the Squeaking Rat. This is the strange story of a 2- and 4-legged rat. One a vicious little criminal with a warped sense of humor. The other a toy mouse with a squeaker in its rubber hide. Such is the background of this story that began as Lorelei Kilbourne ushered an unexpected visitor into Steve Wilson's office at the Illustrated Press.
Steve, could you spare a moment?
Always for you, Lorelei, my lovely. Come in.
Not for me this time, Steve. You have a visitor. Come in, Mr. Lawler.
Thanks, Kilburn. Hello, Wilson.
Well, hello, Lawler. We're honored.
Save the wisecracks for an editorial, Wilson. I want to talk to you.
Fine, sit down.
Thanks.
May we quote you, or is this off the record? Like most of your financial activities.
Well, that depends. But I'm not talking in front of witnesses. Send your girl Friday reporter out to buy a hat.
All right, go buy a hat, Lorelei.
On the Illustrated Press expense account,
That
Steve?
depends on Mr. Lawler.
Okay. Make it good, Mr. Lawler.
I will.
All right, Lawler, what's on your mind?
Just a sec. What about that speakerphone on your desk?
It's switched off. But a hidden microphone would have been a good idea. Especially if I'd known you were coming.
Mm-hmm. That's why I made it a surprise.
All right, what's on your mind?
Plenty.
How do you like our editorials and feature articles on your mysterious financial activities in Big Town?
I don't.
Good.
You're causing me plenty of trouble.
Fine. The white heat of publicity sometimes fumigates the rat holes of the rackets.
Now, look here, Wilson. I simply loan money. If it is used to finance rackets, I'm not criminally responsible.
Oh, yes, we made that quite plain in Miss Kilburn's series of articles. You have no cause for a lawsuit on the grounds of libel or slander.
If I had, you'd have heard from my lawyer, not from me.
Yes, I know. So why this personal visit? What's on your mind?
I want you and your newspaper to lay off me and my activities. quit writing me up. Forget me.
Well, most legitimate businessmen would pay plenty to get the amount of publicity we've been giving you.
Sure, but I'll pay plenty if you lay off.
What's the matter, Lawler? Is your filthy finance getting too hot for your shady clients? The bookies, slot machine operators, and numbers bankers? Are they afraid to do business with you because it puts them in the same spotlight of publicity you're in?
Yes. And I'm here to make you a proposition.
Go ahead, make it.
Now, I know there's no use offering you dough.
Thanks for the compliment.
You're welcome. But, lay off me and my activities, and, I'll feed you enough tips on the rackets to fill your front page with a scoop every day of the week.
Why, you squealing rat. In your rackets, you wouldn't last a week.
Nobody need ever know where you got your information except you and me.
Don't kid yourself, Lawler. The sewer circuit of the underworld has a grapevine information service that would make a Hooper survey look like something out of a cup of tea leaves.
That'd be my worry.
Your funeral?
So you won't trade.
Listen, Lawler, I wouldn't deal with you if you gave me the inside dope on every unsolved murder in Big Town.
Why not?
Because men like you are behind and responsible for half the gang killings in this town.
Prove that, Wilson.
I'm trying. And I must be close to proving it, or you wouldn't be here.
Well, you won't be anywhere very long if you don't lay off.
Is that a threat?
Not from me, no, but I got a lot of friends.
Friends? Why, you haven't a friend in the world, Lawler. No one you can trust, and no one that trusts you.
So you won't play ball.
No, Lawler, and you better tell your so-called friends that if anything happens to any of my staff, they'll be putting a rope around your neck after the deal you've offered me in this office.
Oh, yeah? That'll be your word against mine, Wilson.
Not quite. Just a minute. Lorelei.
Yes, Steve.
Did you get that choice bit of dialogue?
Yes, Steve. You want to hear a playback of your conversation with Mr. Lawler?
No, but I think Lawler would like to hear how his voice sounds.
Why, you double-crossing newspaper slug. You had a microphone hidden somewhere. You sent Kilburn out to turn it on.
Yes, in the statue of justice here on my desk, Lawler. Appropriate, isn't it?
You slug.
That won't help you, Lawler. Justice, crushed to earth, will rise and weigh you on her scales. To quote and unquote a paraphrase.
Lay off me and my business, or you won't live to see it happen.
Go on, Lawler. Is that microphone still working, Lorelei?
Yes, Steve. The tape recorder is getting it all.
You better lay off, Wilson. You've started something even I can't stop.
Get out, Lawler. Get out of this newspaper office and stop whatever you started. Because if anything happens to any of my staff, the recording of our conversation will be enough to send you up the river for the rest of your natural life.
Now, back to Big Town and to Steve Wilson and Lorelei. As they face a showdown with a big-time racket operator, they have goaded into threats of retaliation in tonight's headline story of the deadly gimmick of the Squeaking Rat.
Hey, Gimmick, what's the big idea driving out in this old coal dock? I ain't in no mood for no necking party, even if you was my type.
Don't buddy yourself on both sides, Ruby. You ain't my type either.
So what's the idea? One of your gags?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull a yuck on a guy.
Ain't it kind of late for April Fool jokes?
This ain't gonna be no joke. I fixed me up a gimmick for a guy that's getting in the hair of a hotshot pal of mine.
You and your gimmicks. No wonder you got that nickname. Oh, what's it this time? A stink bomb or an exploding cigar?
You're hot, baby. Red hot. It's in this box.
What's in the box, mystery man?
A toy mouse, baby. One of them rubber rats with a squeaker in it.
Yeah, you squeeze it and it squeaks. So what?
So when this guy gets this package and opens it up, he's going to find the mouse and see the squeaker. And he's going to be curious enough to try and see if the squeaker works.
So what's the yuck in that?
The rat's primed with high explosive. It'll blow his top. Hey, how's that for a gag?
Some gag. Hey, now, wait a sec, Gimmick. That's liable to be murder, and I don't want to get mixed up in it.
You don't want to go back to the hen pen, do you?
No, but listen, Gimmick,
Now, you listen. Do like you're told. There's an old moocher named Willie the Weep that lives in that shanty boat over there.
Is it him you're after?
Nah, but he's a tipster for the guy I want to get.
Who?
A newspaper slug named Steve Wilson of the Press.
So, what's the pitch?
Get out of the car. Go over there and leave this box in front of Willie's door.
Hey, now, wait a minute. What if the moocher comes out and spots me? There's a light in the shanty boat. He must be home.
Quit worrying. Just put it in front of his door and beat it. I'll turn the jalopy around and be ready to haul out of here. Go on, take the box, but don't drop it.
All right, but what if the thing goes off?
Don't worry. It won't go till somebody gets curious enough to squeak that rat.
That recording is all ready to play, Steve.
Good. I phoned Callahan of Homicide, and I want him to hear it, Laurel. Come in. I have an assignment for you.
Why homicide, Steve? And what's my assignment?
I want you to go to Washington for a few days until we find out what's behind Lawler's threats.
Oh, now, wait a minute, Steve. Even if I did write those feature articles on Lawler's mysterious financial activities, surely you don't think he's going to do anything about it?
I'm not taking any chances, Lorelei. The notion that reporters aren't killed for racket exposés has been disproven several times, and I don't want it confirmed by your obituary.
Well, then you better come along to Washington. Lawler threatened you, not me.
Sorry, you're taking the night plane. Just a minute.
April 5th, 1949, Big Town. We'll get back to the phone call following our bottom of the hour break. By the way, there was even a Big Town comic book. It ran from 1951 to March-April of 1958. So it had itself a nice run to it. It was a DC comic. I'm Wyatt Cox. You're listening to Classic Radio Theater on your favorite radio station. And the news from 73 years ago comes up following these words from your favorite radio station.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's Medishare. Maybe you've heard switching to Medishare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The customer satisfaction rate for Medishare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. Medishare works. It's been around for more than a quarter century, and members have shared more than $3 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
It's a big, bold story set in the heartland of America, along the edge of Lonely Mountain. I am open for business. And so Big William Gorgon, played by handsome Michael James, fiercely set down his Midwest roots.
Oh, darling, we're going to sell bathrobes and raise chickens.
Set his adoring wife, Wilhelmina, portrayed by beautiful Glenda Olsen.
Oh, I love our store, Will.
But they hadn't counted on Big Ralph's bathrobes and cattle store coming to town.
Oh, Will, what will we do, Will?
Will had a plan, a way of facing off against tough Big Ralph. We're going to change the face of America. We're going to advertise.
For what?
With print, broadcasting, and bus benches. We're going to tell people who we are and where we are.
What's a bus?
And so the story of how one man brought advertising to the heartland.
Oh, will it work?
It will. Well, my name ain't Will, Wilhelmina. You got to advertise or we'll die. And so the greatest marketing story of all time is here. Advertise or Die, Dopey. Brought to you by Adweek Magazine, the Radio Advertising Bureau, this radio station on the famous Radio Ranch.
Put your message on this national advertising platform. Email classicradiotheater@gmail.com. classicradiotheater@gmail.com. Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday Classic Radio Theater here on your favorite station. We're listening to an episode of Big Town starring Edward Pawley, as it was originally broadcast on Tuesday, April 5th, 1949. In the newspapers of that Tuesday, 73 years ago, these were some of the headlines. The United States and 11 other North Atlantic nations signed a military alliance against communist aggression yesterday and simultaneously put Russia on notice she has nothing to fear unless she starts a war. President Truman himself nailed down that warning. He told the historic assemblage that war is not inevitable and that the Western democracies are uniting only to make sure that the unprovoked attacks of the past shall not happen again. John Roderick for the Associated Press writes a military informant said yesterday a Russian regiment supported by tanks and armored cars had made a new foray into Azerbaijan province and attacked an Iranian army post. Iranian troops replied to the Soviet fire, and an important battle ensued last Thursday and Friday, according to the source. The Iranian government was believed to have handed Russia a stiff note of protest. There has been no official announcement as yet concerning the matter. The Supreme Court held unanimously yesterday that states have the right to curb labor union activities which restrain trade. Justice Black said for the court the state's power to govern in this field is paramount, and nothing in the Constitution guarantees of speech or press compels the state to apply or not to apply its anti-trade restraint law to groups of workers, businessmen, or others. The court held that under Missouri law, a union had no right to picket an ice plant with the aim of forcing it to stop sales to non-union ice peddlers. The plant itself had no dispute with its own unionized workers. New York City Mayor William O'Dwyer yesterday outlined a peace pattern in the hope of settling a 3-day citywide taxi cab strike. Union leaders agreed to consider his proposals, details of which were not revealed. Administration leaders of the Senate were told yesterday that unless Congress speeds up, it may have to go into a special session this summer or fall. It seems that Senator Lucas said that we have a program and we're going to work on it until we finally get a decision one way or the other. He said he was not accusing any senator of using dilatory tactics to stall action on President Truman's legislative program, but he said if anyone has that in mind, he is going to be sadly mistaken. Congress scheduled to wind up July 31st. From Trenton, Georgia, a Negro and a white man yesterday reported floggings by organized bands, one of them consisting of more than 50 men in masks and hoods. William West, a hotel porter, said he and 5 other Negro companions were beaten in woods near Trenton by masked men who caught them at a party. 25-year-old Theron V. Bird said 4 unmasked white men lured him from his home in Chattanooga, Tennessee, drove across the border into Georgia, and gave him 25 lashes in apparent punishment for his domestic troubles. Bird said the men warned him not to divorce his wife. He said he had filed suit for divorce, but had become reconciled with his wife. Both beating incidents occurred Saturday night. And it was like the good old days in Englewood, New Jersey, when a new television store opened. Everyone who purchased a new TV set got for free 2 tickets to a Broadway show, dinner for 4 in a New York nightclub, a 3-way portable radio, a magnifying glass for the TV set. Business was brisk. And those some of the day's top news stories as reported in the newspapers of Tuesday, April 5th, 1949, on your radio Big Town, which continues now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
Steve Wilson, Illustrated Press.
Mr. Wilson, it's me, Willie the Weed.
Hello, Willie. What's up along the waterfront?
I don't know, Mr. Wilson, but somebody left a package in front of the door of my shanty boat and beat it in a car before I could see who it was.
What kind of package, Willie?
Just a little old box wrapped in paper, and it's addressed to you, Mr. Wilson.
Addressed to me?
Yeah, it says, for Steve Wilson of the Illustrated Press, and the letters is cut out of newspaper and pasted on the package like crooks use on ransom notes.
Where are you, Willie?
Oh, in a payphone near the dock.
Where's the package?
I got it with me. What'll I do with it, Mr. Wilson?
Willie, listen carefully.
I'm listening.
Be very careful of that package, Willie. Don't drop it, and don't open it.
No, I wouldn't do that, Mr. Wilson. I never open anybody else's packages, Mr. Wilson. But why do you suppose it was left in front of my shanty door?
Because someone must know you give me tips about events along the waterfront, Willie. I want you to come to the press office right away. Watch yourself now, Willie, and be careful how you handle that package.
Yeah, hello?
That you, Mr. Lawler?
Who wants to know?
It's me. Gimmick Martin.
Louse the laughs. What's the idea of calling me on my private wire, and what's the gag?
The gag to get a certain wise guy that's been getting in your hair lately.
Don't do me any favors, Gimmick. Your tricks and gags are about as funny as a crutch.
Don't worry. This one will pay off with a great big yacht. And already it's in the works.
What's in the works, comic?
You know that racket-busting newspaper slug, Wilson?
Wilson of the press?
Yeah.
You dope, what have you pulled?
Relax. Just send him a little April Fool present. A little late, but he'll get the gag of the gimmick.
What kind of a present? What have you sent him, you dope?
Hey, is that gratitude? I figured I was doing you a favor.
Your kind of favor can tie me to you and your other punk pals I'm backing. What have you sent Wilson?
A gimmick that'll blow his head off if he's curious. And newspaper guys are curious about everything.
What kind of a gimmick, you laughing hyena?
Just a toy mouse with a squeaker in it, and he'll figure it's somebody's way of calling him a rat.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah, that ain't all. That's just the come on. Listen, the payoff comes when Wilson gets curious and squeezes the mouse's squeaker to see if it works.
And then what happens?
Comes then the big yuck. The mouse blows up and blows Wilson right out of your hair.
Oh, Gimmick, you dope. I left Wilson not half an hour ago. I warned him to lay off. I threatened him. They had a microphone planted on me, and if anything happens, they'll nail me for it.
Creeps. How was I to know that?
Never mind. How did you send that booby trap?
I planted it with a moocher named Willie the Weep, one of Wilson's waterfront tipsters.
Well, get it back, you crazy fool. Get it away from that mooch.
Now, wait a minute. I don't know as I can. I've been watching him. Willie phoned Wilson as soon as he found the package. He's on his way to Wilson's office right now.
Go after him. Wait for him outside the press office. Get that package away from him before you get me a reserved seat in a chair.
Okay, Ruby. Wait here, right behind the wheel.
Say, what's the matter with you, Gimmick? What's the idea of racing across town and parking right in front of the Illustrated Press?
Shut up, Ruby. Stay under the wheel and be ready to roll out of here, but quick.
Okay, but what's the big idea? What you watching for? That mooch and dope Willie the Weep?
Yeah, I gotta get that package back.
Ha! Now I've heard everything. A while ago, that was going to be the Yak of the Year. Now you gotta call it off. What gives?
Button up and get ready to roll. I see the moocher coming down the block carrying a box.
You're gonna grab it?
Yeah, get set to start the motor and leave this car door open so I can jump in quick.
Okay, but you better watch that hacky leaning against his cab there in front of the press entrance.
I'll sap him if he butts in on this. Get set.
Okay, hurry it up.
Hiya, Willie. What you doing up in this section of town?
Oh, hello, Harry. I got to deliver a very important package to Mr. Wilson.
You walk all the way from the waterfront?
Yeah, Harry. I didn't have a nickel for bus fare.
I'll hack you back when you come out.
Thanks, Harry, but I'll mooch my way back.
Wait a minute, Willie. Maybe you won't have to mooch your way back to the docks.
Who are you, mister? Let go of my arm.
Hold still, punk. You got something I want. Give me that package.
No, I won't. This package is for Mr. Wilson of the Illustrated Press. You let go. Harry! Harry the hack, help!
Shut up. Give me that package, you dope.
Won't you let go? Harry!
Come in, Willie. Let go of my pal, Willie, or I'll crack your cranium with this knocker.
Oh, yeah!
Run, Willie, in a press building, quick. Hold this monkey.
Hold him. I'll get help, Harry. I'll get help.
What's a big idea, you slug?
This is the big idea, you meddling hacky dope. Ruby, get the motor going. Roll this heap. Let's get out of here.
Steve, here's Willie with the package, and Harry, look at
Come in, Willie. Good grief. What's happened to you two?
A fella tried to get this package from me right in front of the press entrance, Mr. Wilson.
Yeah, he jumped Willie and I jumped him, but he was plenty handy with a blackjack, boss.
Harry tried to hold him, but he got away in a car that had a girl driver.
Did either one of you spot the license number?
Not me. I was seeing stars. Sorry, boss.
And I was too busy holding on to this package you said to be careful of, Mr. Wilson.
Now, let's see that package, Willie. Put it on the desk. Very carefully.
What is it, Mr. Wilson? How come I gotta be so careful with it?
I don't know, Willie. But There's something queer about this whole affair, and we're not going to take any chances.
Well, maybe it's a delayed April Fool's joke, Steve.
Perhaps, Lorelei, but the fact it was left in front of Willie's shanty could mean it comes from someone who knows Willie works for us from time to time.
But, Steve, maybe it's another one of those symbolic threats you get from cranks every once in a while. Knives, silver bullets, musical coffins, skulls with bullet holes in them.
Yeah, have you still got that desk drawer full of them, boss?
Yes, Harry?
And Steve still calls it his no-hope chest.
Yes, but this package is different.
How so, Steve?
Because someone tried to recover it, Lorelei. Something must have happened between the time it was left outside Willie's shanty boat and the time he reached here.
That wasn't more than half an hour, Mr. Wilson.
And in that half hour, someone changed their mind about wanting me to receive this package.
Steve, Mark Lawler said someone might get you, shut you up if you didn't lay off.
Yes, and Lawler knows we have a recording of his threats.
Holy moly, boss. Maybe that box is a bomb, a time bomb. It's about the size of an alarm clock.
No, Harry, I'm sure there's no time clock mechanism. I listened very carefully, and it isn't heavy enough for a battery type.
Now, Steve, be careful. Don't open it.
Don't worry. Inspector Callahan has a couple of specialists who know how to handle such things. Take that call, Lorelei. Tell whoever it is that I'll call them back.
Okay, Steve. Steve Wilson's office, Illustrated Press.
Hello, police headquarters. Inspector Callahan of Homicide, please. Steve Wilson calling.
Oh.
Who's calling me, Lorelei?
Steve, I think you better take this incoming call now.
Well, who is it, Lorelei?
Mark Lawler, and he sounds worried.
Well, he may have good reason here. Take this other call to Callahan. Ask him to come up here and bring one of his bomb specialists on the double.
Okay, you talk to Lawler. He sounds like a cat on a hot
Well,
stove.
he may be just that and a lot more. All right, Lawler. What's on your mind?
I suppose you've got that wire recorder hooked up with this phone, Wilson.
You'll have to risk that, Lawler. What's on your mind since you last talked?
I got a hot tip for you, Wilson.
I told you I'm not buying any tips from you, Lawler.
I don't want anything for this tip.
And I don't want any favors.
You better listen, Wilson.
Why should I listen to you?
You're marked to get it, and how?
All right. How?
Well, just for the benefit of your tape recorder, I don't know. But you're primed to get it, but good.
Stop lying, Lawler. If you know anything, you know all about it. And you probably know your stooge wasn't able to get the package back from Willie the Weep.
Hey, it wasn't my idea. I had nothing to do with it.
Well, you'll have a tough time proving it. After the threats you made in this office tonight?
Well, I didn't know about it then. I was just bluffing, trying to scare you off.
Yes, I thought as much. What have you heard since then? Who sent that package? Talk. All right, Lawler. Talk if you want to get out of this.
Wait a minute. What's the deal for me?
I'm making no bargains with you, Lawler. Who left the package with Willie the Weep and beat him up with a blackjack trying to get it back? What's his name? What's his name, Lawler?
All right. A punk numbers banker called Gimmick Mutt.
Gimmick Mutt?
Yeah.
Where's he hang out?
I don't know. But he's going to call me again in a few minutes, and I could tell him to be someplace, and you could pick him up.
Tell him to be at your office in half an hour.
My office?
Yes, your office.
But he'll know I crossed him up if you show with the cops.
He'll know it sooner or later. Take it or leave it, Lawler.
Okay, I'll take it.
All right. Have him at your office in half an hour, or the gimmick's gimmick may blast you into prison for a lot of years.
And the conclusion of Big Town, starring Edward Pawley from 73 years ago, April 5th, 1949, continues when Classic Radio Theater returns in a moment.
No offense, but are you a little fat when you look in the mirror? How would you like to learn the secrets to lose 3 to 5 pounds a week easily without joining the gym or going through any crazy diets? It's called Body Sculpt by Med Diet. For the last 2 decades, we've been helping people just like you that have pounds they want to shed. We've helped millions of people lose thousands and thousands of pounds over the years. And now it's your turn. Learn the secrets of how to lose weight with one simple phone call. You'll see an amazing difference in a matter of days. Don't believe us? We'll offer you a money-back guarantee. If you're ready to start losing weight right now, call right now to learn more about your risk-free order to Body Sculpt.
Call for your risk-free offer. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. 800-738-5332. That's 800-738-5332.
On Wednesday's Classic Radio Theater, William Gargan as Barry Craig, confidential investigator from 68 years ago, April 6, 1954. The Schemers. The best time to die, folks, is in your own good time. But try arguing with a bullet. That's coming up on Wednesday's Classic Radio Theater. Now the conclusion of Big Town, as it was broadcast 73 years ago, April 5th, 1949.
Now back to Big Town and to Steve Wilson and Lorelei as they approach the office of Mark Lawler, a racket backer, in tonight's story headlined The Deadly Gimmick of the Squeaking Rat.
Oh, there's Lawler's office, Steve, at the end of the corridor.
Wait here, Lorelei. This is where you get off.
But, Steve, you're not walking in there alone, unarmed.
Oh, yes. But I'm not exactly unarmed, Lorelei. I have this little toy mouse the gimmick sent me with his murderous compliments.
But what's the good of that toy mouse?
I think it'll frighten a confession out of the gimmick. And Lawler, out of the business of financing rackets, wait here for Callahan of Homicide, Lorelei. He'll be here in a couple of minutes. Then come in and get the facts for Fletch on the city desk.
All right. But you be careful. I don't have to phone in your obituary for the final.
I'll try to avoid that. Oh, hello?
Wilson, a racket buster newsie.
Sit down, gimmick. Come in, Wilson. Close the door.
Thanks, Lawler. I see you got him here.
Hey, what's the idea, Lawler? Is this the way you pay off guys that try to do you a favor?
I don't go for favors that tie me into murder and maybe the chair.
I'll get you for this, Lawler. I'll get you for this cross-up if it's the last thing I ever do.
You'll have to wait quite a few years before you have a chance to try, gimmick.
Oh, yeah? You ain't got a thing on me, Wilson.
Not a thing, but this little present you sent me, care of Willie the Weep.
Hey, what's that? I never seen it before.
I'll refresh your memory, gimmick. Let's see what's inside this box.
Hey, take it easy, Wilson. Take it easy.
Why back away, gimmick? Aren't you curious? Let's see what's so carefully wrapped in this tissue paper.
Hey, take it easy.
Well, if it isn't a little toy mouse, look at it, gimmick.
Hey, cut it out. Take it easy.
Stop backing away, gimmick. It's only a toy mouse.
Listen, Wilson. Yeah, it was only a gag. For a yuck. Yeah, for a laugh.
So you admit you sent it to me as a favor to Lawler?
Yeah, a guy, give me it. I'm always picking up things for gags. That's why everybody calls me Gimmick.
Oh, so that's just your way of calling me a rat?
Yeah. There ain't no law against that, Wilson. I can't be pinched for pulling a gag. Give me it, huh? Give me it back.
Why do you want it back? It's nothing but a little toy mouse, gimmick. With a squeaker in it. A little whistle that squeaks. If you press it like...
Wait a minute. Don't squeeze that rat, Wilson.
Why not? Here, you take it.
No.
You press it, gimmick. Suppose you see if it squeaks.
No, keep it away. Keep it away from me. It's loaded.
Loaded with what?
High explosive. It'll tear us to pieces.
So it is a deadly booby trap, a murderous little hand grenade in the body of a rubber mouse.
Yeah, take it away. Put it
down,
Are
you loaded?
Wilson.
And send it to me.
Yeah, put it down. I fixed it. It'll blow if you drop it. Put it down.
All right, you can stop backing away. Okay, Callahan.
Nice going, Steve. We've got all we need. But put that mouse down on the desk. Easy. And for heaven's sake, don't squeak that rat.
Well, why not, Callahan? It's served its purpose. It's nothing but a harmless substitute copy of the one your thumb squad boys took to headquarters.
Wilson, you tricky slug. You pulled a yak on me.
Yes, gimmick. Would you like to hear this one squeak now?
Hey, don't.
Yes, Steve. Put that thing down. Slow and easy.
Well, why should I put it down, Callahan?
Because my bomb squad boys made a mistake. They got them rubber rats mixed up when they repacked the box for you.
They did what?
Yeah. The one they took to headquarters was the dud.
And this one is the McCoy, still loaded with high explosives that would have gone off if I had squeaked it?
Yeah, Steve.
To quote and unquote, lay that squeaker down, Steve. Just lay that deadly squeaker down.
Well, friends, we all make mistakes. I almost made a fatal one with that squeaking rat. As far as the vicious gimmick, he received a stiff sentence for attempted murder, and by treacherously turning state's evidence, sent Lawler to prison for criminal conspiracy.
In tonight's dramatization, all names, times, and places are fictional. Big Town features Edward Pawley as Steve Wilson, Fran Collin as Lorelei Kilburn, and is written and produced by Jerry McGill.
April 5th, 1949, Big Town on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Please visit our webpage, classicradio.stream. There you can stream our shows on demand, learn more about classic radio collecting, find our social media links, and contact me there, classicradio.stream. You can also hear our shows anywhere podcasts are served, including iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Search for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Have a great Tuesday. Thank this radio station. Support their advertisers. Tell your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.